Upon glancing at October releases for video games, I stumbled upon a hidden gem, or so I thought. The title read Story of Seasons Doraemon. The systems listed adjacent to the game title were the Nintendo Switch and PC. Holy baloney, Batmouse. You're telling me an official Story of Seasons game finally made its way to the personal computer? Without any hesitation, I typed the title of the game into a search engine, and nothing could have predicted what happened next. As I opened the video game preview, I was greeted with an epic display of lush scenery, a palette of colors providing a steady rush of euphoria to the eyes, an epic mosaic of picturesque painting style, not unlike Valkyria Chronicles. I rejoiced at the fact that such a story of seasons would be available in a mere matter of days. That considered, and the manga theme pushed me to further research the topic. Would the powers of Doraemon be used to facilitate the experience for a younger audience? There was no doubt in my mind. However, whilst digging deeper, I found two nonsensical caveats the game developers implemented. The first one is regarding the marriage aspect that is usually found in the Story of Seasons games. The first time around, the creators of both anime and Story of Seasons games decided to omit that from the game because they claim that Nobita has a lifestyle and it cannot be disturbed. Well, first and foremost, if you know Nobita, this game itself is a paradox to his lifestyle. He has no motivation and is one of the laziest persons you could ever meet in this planet, or on this earth. The mere contemplation of the game was a contradiction to Nobita's lifestyle. You give Nobita a farm, you might as well set fire to the Serengeti and hope for the best. Not to mention that Nobita does get married to Shizuka in the main timeline's future, something which happened on a TV episode 41 years ago on April 7th, 1979. Moreover, the couples had their vows renewed in a remake of the episode on April 22nd, 2005. With how morally bankrupt society is, it wouldn't hurt to give us a nod, to give us normal people a nod who think marriage can be a good thing. Girls take to shaving half their heads, walking the streets like, they just checked out of a mental institution or something. Apologies, it's a Gundam. While their millionaire pop overlord sits there laughing at them for imitating her style. When they go to school looking like social jack-offs, and then they wonder why they're getting bullied because they're only following what society told them to do. Or bleaching their hair to simulate burnt hair as a fad. Getting 50 piercings in 1 year, tattooing their face. The list of degeneracy goes on and on. Fujiko Pro must be scared to make a stand. They probably fear the repercussions of having Nobita marry Shizuka and not making him a transgender fluid tadpole who has the option to marry a post-op mailbox as one of his suitors. The second but most transparent omission is the lack of the ability to pursue an open-ended game and a play-as-you-like style. This version of Story of Seasons only allows you to play a linear chapter set that, when completed, ousts you from the game. It ends. In terms of this aspect right here, I'm sure PC modders could whip up something to make the gameplay time infinite. However, we don't know how many people from the fandom are eligible to work on this issue. So if you're looking for a daily harvest when you want to unwind, this won't be it. Other complaints regarded the camera and the dumbed down aspect of the game mechanics. However, I expected that with such a broad audience, the Doraemon cast would indefinitely be open to the coined term of consumer accessibility, preached by Mr. Miyamoto upon the E3 unveiling of the Wii over a decade ago. Doraemon is a cultural phenomenon in East Asia, enjoyed by the literate, the illiterate, the old, the young, the poor, the wealthy, and the in-between. Thus, I totally understand why they chose to alleviate some of the mechanics in favor of a streamlined experience. Because, let's face it, the average attention span regarding the kids demographic is pretty damn low. It's even worse nowadays with all the multitasking, smartphone, Tamagotchi, 3DS, Nintendo Switch, anime, manga, everything is being consumed at the same time. If you're looking for a more hardcore resource management and trial by fire game, Rune Factory 4 is getting a Switch remake this holiday season, and I'm also picking that game up. I can't wait to play it, It's Story of Seasons, but epic style. In the game, the game we were talking about just a few seconds ago. In the game, Doraemon uses his powers to allow Nobita to select cue cards which change the weather. It's much like teaching the weather to kids in early development stages or kindergarten. Because, you know, they use cue cards and stuff like that. But wait, Doraemon can use cue cards to control the weather? For God's sakes, man, if you can change the weather at your whim, why not change the timeline so we can play as a future Nobita at the end of the main story? It's not that hard, RoboCat. The devs could have implemented that early on. You know, you finish the main story, and then you can play with an adult Nobita at the end game, right? And then continue the game, and then get married and do everything in succession. Doesn't have to have all the mechanics of all of the prior story of seasons. Just, you know, make it a complete title, even if it's, you know, basically for kids. So, the question is, Hentai Happy, how do you see this game? I can say that this game has two omissions which could have otherwise cemented it as one of the most awesome manga themes, scratch that, most awesome story of seasons game to date. The way I see it is like a linear children's book. It has a first page and a last page. Make of that what you will. I want to see what the modding scene does with it, though. Ideally, they could extend the time in the game, make it infinite. They could possibly help Nobita get hitched in the end. We'll see. I mean, they went crazy on Skyrim mods, remember that? I don't know if the source code for this game's leaked, but doesn't matter. Right, everybody, this was Hentai Happy. Thank you for joining me on my first impressions of Doraemon, a Story of Seasons game. Yes, good day. It is Hentai Happy, and I have some news